Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And the first week of CDL matches for the Major 1 qualifiers have now concluded, and another very interesting day of matches we're going to dive into today. Some drama hitting the timeline as per. Lots I'm sure to discuss in the comment section below. Very much intrigued to your thoughts down below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. Let's just dive straight into things. This I thought was kind of cool. Reaction from Los Angeles Guerrillas to yesterday's matchup against New York we talked about earlier today, of course. Good result for those guys. Definitely a difficult spot New York find themselves in, but the first matchup of the day today was Paris versus Florida Mutineers. Definitely, if anything, kind of the battle for the worst team in the league right now. You kind of could look at it from that perspective. New York, you'd imagine, given their kickoff results, probably better than both these teams. It's tough to say, but still, both these teams I think are decent. Of course, Paris pushed FaZe the limit yesterday. Florida kind of got blown out by London, right, but they look decent at the kickoff when they beat Los Angeles Guerrillas. Definitely a load of these teams are very similar plays right now. Seems like a lot of the teams in the bottom half of the league can beat anyone else in the bottom half of the league on any given day right now. I'm sure that over time, teams will separate themselves out, and the best teams will come clear as time progresses. But yeah, between these two, I think a lot of people would say probably, two of the teams that look the worst, at least as of the present time. But again, Mutineers just do this crazy thing. Thought this is kind of cool from Carsten, and Enigma points out some of them, the stats that we actually get to see now on the broadcast. Haven't had all that much of this before, right? Hold percentages, break percentages, rotation win percentages, like this especially for, I'm pretty sure this is quite low for Paris. 13% break percentage compared to some other teams I think are much higher. Florida, for example, 21%. Not ideal, of course, in terms of the hard points, and the game one goes in a similar manner. This was a pretty ridiculous game one on Bacage. Vivid actually breaks the kill record that his teammate Skyz set, I'm pretty sure, in the first game of the kickoff at 45. He drops 46. They win this game on 250 to 200 or so. It's just so hectic, Bacage. It's unbelievable. It's almost not worth watching the first 5 or 6 minutes, because it's always going to go down to the distance to some degree. Just tune in for the last few minutes of it, and you'll get the drift, right? Because it's basically that for 10 minutes straight. It can be difficult to watch at times. We go to a Tuscan search and destroy. This was a ridiculous search and destroy, to be honest. It goes all the way to round 11. I feel like we've had so many great round 11s already just this past weekend, and this was another one. Look at the timing that Skyz gets him against John. John's kind of peering over the balcony. Skyz, he just runs straight past him, and John doesn't get the kill there, but then I think Skyz probably thought that he might go and defuse the bomb. John actually does come back and chase the kill, gets the kill in the end, and wins the round 11, and this was the only map that Paris would end up winning in this series. But Skyz was a monster this map. He was 14-7 at the end of it. He got this kill. It looked like he was going to clutch the 1 versus 2, but maybe you could argue misplayed this 1v1 to some degree. John gets the job done. 6-5 for Paris Legion, ties up the series, and it really felt like they were going to go on to win this one, but the control doesn't go their way. It was a pretty ridiculous control because Paris had a great advantage. They had defense on the final rounds, but Florida honestly played a great offense, and already I think we're starting to see teams that kind of get the hang of offense, how to win it, how to slay out, right? Because when you get map control, you can quite often spawn trap the defense. If you get a bit of that, you get a life advantage. You can take it down to time, and honestly, that's kind of how these rounds are won on offense right now. So I really don't think it's as defense heavy as maybe it first appeared, and even like a map like Garrison last year, right, was definitely, I think, more defense heavy than we see on some of these controls right now, because there are ways to win them, it's just difficult to do so. And then the final map, it honestly felt like Paris kind of lost full after that game 4, and after that game 3, sorry. They go into game 4 Tuscan hard points, and this was just a bloodbath from start to finish, really. Ends up 250 to 140. Paris bring it back, but no one was stopping the Mutineers at this point. And this was also kind of funny because Paris were getting completely roasted, and understandably, really, because their social media guy, I'm not even sure they've done a tweet as of yet, but apparently they just didn't even know there was a match today. They didn't tweet one time the entire series. They won a map even, they still didn't tweet about it. So I don't know what's going on in the Paris Legion camp there. It's just an absolute embarrassment of an organization, quite honestly. Not sure why they didn't sell it in the off-season when the rumors were coming through that they were going to do just that. And as Florida say, you can rage quit Twitter, but you cannot rage quit the maps. Florida win it 3-1. Big map, of course, for them. And Paris, despite looking really good against FaZe yesterday, they start 0-2, and not the start, of course, they would be looking for. This also, bit of news before we talk about the next series. Bryce and Tun are going to be returning as casters this year. I'm pretty sure they came back very briefly at the early part of last year when maybe some casters couldn't come on because I think there was a massive power outage in Texas or something. Not sure if that was the time where they came through. But yes, Bryce and Tun are going to be there. This I think is fantastic. Yes, okay, look, we don't have Maven and Merc, but I was kind of thinking it might be Tun and Alicat, but I think Alicat's found a really nice role on the desk as of late, which I imagine is where she's going to stay. And Bryce and Tun are going to come in as a duo. Fantastic duo, to be honest. Yes, look, we wish we had Maven and Merc, but given the fact that we don't, I think this duo is also fantastic. So, there's some L's, there's some W's. This is a massive W. Really happy for these guys. Just fantastic to see these boys back in action. Really great casters. If you guys haven't heard much from Bryce and Tun before, they've been a duo since way back in the day, and they're bringing the talents once again to the CDL in the mainstream. I think they did a bit of challenges last year. Now they're back in business on the mainstream. Definitely a bit of positive news given some of the negativity that has been going around as of late. Not sure when they'll do their first series. I suppose we shall see in due course. Let's talk about this next series then, because certainly some beef kind of riling up before this one. FaZe versus Los Angeles Thieves. We knew full well right about the whole Drazah versus Simp thing. Drazah used the one-way smoke. Simp wasn't happy about it. Then of course Kenny was coming at Simp for the double standards as a result of things. This was kind of a chance to settle the score, and game one honestly was remarkable. Like this was a crazy map on Tuscan Hardpoint. One of the best I've seen so far. For some reason Los Angeles Thieves on Tuscan Hardpoint, they just have like ridiculous games. They had a crazy one against Toronto. They had a crazy one against OpTic. This to me is like already kind of shaping up to be probably one of the most entertaining maps, and one of the ones that always tends to go down to the wire. Kind of like Checkmate last year in a sense, where it'd always be that crazy P2 that madness would be happening on. This seems to be in a similar way. 250-248. Los Angeles Thieves make a great comeback. They win this game one against FaZe. It felt like they might take that momentum through for the rest of the series, but not how it works out, because well, FaZe really bounced back, and I was impressed really at FaZe's kind of composure here. We saw them have a similar way really against Paris yesterday when they went down 2-1. They won map 4 and 5 pretty comfortably, and just kind of showing what champions are made of in a sense. Backs against the wall, not playing at 100% capacity. Clearly, like this isn't FaZe's best by any means, but it's still getting the results. And well, this game too, they bounced back pretty nicely. Cellium honestly was a monster. He was so hard to stop for these guys this series. And I mean, yeah, Cellium was out of control. He goes 10-3, I'm pretty sure, this game too. Then at game 3, started to feel a bit more vintage FaZe coming back into business. Yes, Simp went negative in a control, which is pretty rare to see. He also had a pretty tough map 1 as well in this series. But I mean, so we'll look at the post-game stats here in just a couple of seconds. But yeah, Simp usually is the one dominating controls, but it's aBeZy and Cellium that do it this time. They win a crazier offense really, and that's usually good enough, right? If you win a good offense to win this game 3-0, this is kind of what FaZe were doing to people last year, winning a crucial offense on a difficult map to win offense, and then winning the rest of the map as well. So kind of, well, some kind of hints of the old FaZe that we saw last time that were so dominant, and then they close out their series very comfortably on a Bacage hardpoint in the end as well, which you would imagine would favour them quite nicely, right, given their playstyle. So, well, this is the overall series stats. Simp does go even at the end. It's Cellium at plus 26 with a 1.4. aBeZy, RC's pretty similar numbers as well. And yes, Kenny and, well, Drazah obviously did go positive. Octane, of course, he's had a really difficult time the last few days. I believe his grandma and grandpa passed away over the last month or so. So it's really sad to see that Octane's going through the difficult times right now. Like, you know, really fair play to him coming out and playing it. Well, still a cracking series given all the circumstances he's dealing with behind the scenes right now. But, you know, Kenny of all people, given all the kind of trash talk that has been discussed, he goes minus 25 for a 0.7, which certainly there was some discussion about. Doubters silent, say the Call Legit League. Definitely FaZe looked somewhat better here than they have done the last couple of days. Finally, maybe putting things together as we might expect. Then again, Los Angeles Thieves from Los Angeles. Their internet is always not going to be so ideal for these online games. Definitely I thought FaZe should be favourites here. They win it 3-1 in the end. But it's not like Thieves didn't put up a fight at all. They did make a close game out of this one. And RC's drops the lol on the timeline. Maybe you're saying, look, after all this trash talk and all the back and forth between Simp and Kenny and all these guys, they didn't really put up all that much of a fight when push came to shove. And well, Simp says as well, happy birthday to me. Great start to stage 1. FaZe seemingly back in business to some degree. And well, Kenny tweets this, GG's FaZe, we lost 3-1. 'Twas fun, but well, no other comments for now. And honestly, how to even put this final series into words? Here we go, OpTic versus Minnesota Rokkr. Let's just crack straight on, because another game 5 round 11 for OpTic. I honestly did not think it was going to go there, especially going into the game 4, or towards the end of the game 4. It felt unfathomable that this would somehow go to a game 5 round 11. But here we are again, 2 in 2 days for OpTic. Game 1 was pretty incredible. This finally, it seems like the slaying power, which just wasn't there yesterday for OpTic. Scump was really the only one performing in the slaying category. Shotzzy and Illy take over game 1 here. Both of them almost double positive. They win this Tuscan hardpoint pretty comfortably indeed. That's the thing. Minnesota generally haven't been the best respawn team the last couple of years, but Search and Destroy, of course, is where they stood out. 60 and 33 combined from Shotzzy and Illy game 1, but well, that is not how the series continued. This was also pretty ridiculous. This first round here on the Tuscan Search and Destroy, Illy gets crazy timing as Major Maniak hops over this wall that I didn't even know was possible, and still finds the kill, wins the round, but then OpTic lose the next 6. That's the thing. OpTic Search and Destroy so far hasn't been great, and I was actually going to mention this in earlier today's video. I predicted OpTic to win 3-1, but you know, game 5, Minnesota are always scary, right? They're always a team that in Search and Destroy, they're going to be very well drilled, they know what they're doing, they've got good strats they're going to run consistently, and they're not going to make all that many mistakes. We saw that in this series, they take their Search and Destroy pretty comfortably, 6-1 in the end. The control was an absolute blender. Like, this round 1, right, from OpTic was so good. They had a great offensive win. Like, usually one offensive win here on Tuscan is good enough to win the game, but they win this offense pretty effectively. They get a 7-1 life advantage in the end. They close out the rounds, but then Minnesota Rokkr clap back immediately. They have an incredible offensive round where they only lose 3 lives the entire round. Like, they get B, they get A, and then they get off B and finish the job as well. Like, remarkable that Rokkr managed to clap back this quickly. They tied up 1-1. It then goes to a round 5 where OpTic win an incredible round 5, like Break Your Boy to the Minnesota Choker, right? Because, Minnesota Choker, I guess. Because, this was the round in question. Illy makes a fantastic play alongside the B points, gets a load of, gets 4 dead. They stack the point, the OpTic guys. It felt like, okay, wow, this is going to be a turning point. Difficult and close series up to this point, but OpTic, they're stacking the hill. This is what we want them to do. All of them get on it. They get the capture zone through. This is what they didn't do last year very commonly on checkmate control, for example, that was costing them a fair few rounds. They win this. They go up 3-1. They go up 2-1, sorry. And you'd think that was probably good enough with the momentum in their favor to win this map. But no, that's not the case. This final map on the Berlin, like, this really was where it felt like the dagger had been put into OpTic. But honestly, this game 5 was just so ridiculous. We've got to talk about that as well. But OpTic this game were up substantially in this early hardpoint. They were up by at least 60 or so points at a time. They had, a substantial lead. Minnesota bring it back hill by hill, and it turns out that OpTic can't quite win it on the final hardpoint. Their rotations to this final hill left plenty to be desired, and Minnesota out of nowhere come back and win this 252-44. Like, again, like, just the way that OpTic collapsed here was just, it almost feels so predictable. Does it not feel predictable, guys? I don't know. I feel like I'm watching this, and I can see what's going to happen before it happens, and then it happens. I don't know. Like, it just seems like it happens every time. And I mean, look at this, right? This is the scoreboard. At one point, they're up by a substantial margin. Like, what is this, 100 to almost at 170 at a time? So, a big lead, and look at this, right? Minnesota, the only time they were leading the game was in the final 5 seconds of the hardpoint. They win it, and then we go into a final search and destroy. This was an absolute bloodbath. It was incredibly back and forth. There were a few rounds that could have gone either way, but loads of B plants coming through. It went down to like 4-4. Then OpTic went up a 5-4 advantage. Illy gets a kill when I'm pretty sure Standy was planting the bomb. He kills the guy like half a second after he plants the bomb. Then he peeks out, maybe overcharged to some degree. Major Maniak takes him down. They don't win the retake. It goes to round 11. The round 11 was incredible. Shots he tried, I think it was Illy actually tried to make a flank. Both of them were there on the bomb. Again, like, people dying without trades. Like, Illy went in, he tried to make a hero play. It almost worked out, but he got punched in the face, maybe shot in the back as well. He loses that gunfight. The other guys try and come in for the trade. They get shut down 1 by 1. Dashi has a pretty horrible map 5 as well. I think he went 2 and 8 or something. The snipes weren't really connected for him, whereas they were for Itachi on the other side of things. And, I don't know, like, it just boggles belief how this seems to happen every single time. Minnesota in Game 5 round 11s against OpTic, they don't tend to lose those ones, but also OpTic, 2 days in a row, they go Game 5 round 11 with teams they were meant to beat, and they lose both Game 5 round 11s. Their search and destroy record so far here in Vanguard is 1-4. That's not going to cut it. Reminiscent of last year, but as yet, they're not winning the series. So what more is there to say? Very much intrigued to your perspective in the comment section below. I'm sure we're just going to be discussing the impact of this in the coming days. What exactly is going wrong for OpTic right now? And I'm sure they'll give their thoughts in due course as well. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit in a like button. Towards the YouTube gods, this is a good video. I'd just like you should see it as well. And I'll grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always. Take care. And I will see you next time.